Hi, everybody. My name is Doug Hershkovitz, and I'm here to share with you some of the work that the team had been working on for the past 3 to 4 iterations. I'm happy to say that we were able to uh, get all of those issues that I'm going to share with you out the door and ready in time for 15.7. So without further ado, let me share my screen. And yeah, I want to start by recapping what is the issues that we've implemented. So 3 of the most top wanted feature. The first one is specify variables when retrying a manual job. You can see very top wanted feature. The second one is using a dollar character or special character in build variable, which is also, as you can see, a lot of users reacted with different icons. And the last one is set a predefined list of value of CI environment variable and surface them in the run pipeline page form. As you can see, also really top wanted features. So I'm gonna show you how each feature looks like, behave, and what is the benefit the user will get. Yeah, let's start with specifying a variable when retrying a manual job. The problem that users experience is that when they run a manual job, we were able to allow them to input variables at the first run. But if they would like to retry that manual job, there wasn't an option for the user to update those variables. So the first variable that you enter when you first run a manual job, those will be the only variable that the user could inject to a job. Now, as you can probably guess, many users wanted to update those variables because sometimes they want to run the same job with different variables. Sometimes it was just like a typo, and there wasn't an option to do that. So now when you go to a job, which is a manual job, we'll go to the job page. And this is the job. Yeah. So when you run the job the first time, actually, let's push this branch again. Let's just change here. Hold on, I want to make sure I'm in the right branch. Let's switch branch. Let's just do an update so we could commit my changes. Now the pipeline will start running. And the job, which is a manual job, which I set here. And look at the pipeline. You can see. The first time, I am prompted with this way to input a variable, and I know that I have a variable that I called it my var. And let's input it as test1, and then I can trigger this manual action. Now this was the only time the users were able to inject a variable into a manual job. Now the job will run, and you'll be able to see that this variable will get printed. And there wasn't an option, yes, this job is successful. You can see this is my var, test1. Let's just hit refresh. So now what we've added this dropdown. As you can see, previously, before we've implemented this change, users were only able to run it again. But now with this dropdown, users can either run it again or update a CI/CD variable. And I can click on this button, and then I'll be redirected to the same page, and I can add a different variable value. and run this job again. And obviously it will print the variable with the new update. So the job is running with the new value of this variable. So this is the first issue. The second one, users cannot use the dollar character in the variable. Now the dollar character or any special kind of character is very common in secrets. And the problem is that before we introduce this feature, whenever someone used the dollar sign in a value, it referred to as variable expansion. So a variable that is actually calling a variable. But since we've introduced a new type of variable that is called a row variable, now users are able to set the variable to be a row variable, meaning do not expand this variable. When I'm using the dollar sign, I'm not calling another variable. Just use the character as is. And let's see how it looks like. So you can see here in this section, I've defined two variables. One with the value of job ID, which is a predefined variable, and I've added like the dollar sign, and one with another predefined variable, which is CI underscore job name. I can actually call it the same one. Okay, so we can understand the difference. Okay, so I'm adding the same value, but in the job underscore ID, I'm adding the flag expand true, which is like the new flag that we've added. And in the job underscore ID underscore 2, I'm adding the expand false, meaning do not expand this variable. Now, by default, the expand is true. So this is actually like I can comment this line and it will be the same. But basically, by default, when you're using a dollar sign, it will be expanded, and you need to explicitly mention in your CI configuration that you do not want to expand the variable and take the value as is. Now, let's just make sure I'm printing those variable when I'm running this job. Okay, and let's see how it looks. Let's commit change. Go to my pipeline. Let's run it. Let's go to the job page. Okay, so you can see that I'm echoing the two variables that I've defined, and one of them echo the job ID, the job underscore CI underscore job ID. So this is the job ID. So it actually the variable and took the value of the variable, of the predefined variable. And the second one actually took the variable as is. So did not expand this variable, did not expand this value, and literally use the dollar sign as is. And this is, as I mentioned, this is quite common when using the dollar sign in your value. And we allow user to set it as you saw in the pipeline configuration, but also there is an option to do it in the UI, which is more common, I would say. So whenever you go and define your variable, today there is another flag which is expanded. Let's add it. As you can see, there is like a new checkbox. And if I'm like using a value and I'm adding the dollar sign, you'll be prompted with this warning saying value might contain variable reference because we are referring to another variable. And if I'm unchecking this, then it means that it will use this value as is. And if I'm unchecking it, it will actually try to call this variable if it exists. Okay, so we've allowed users to configure it through both ways, through YAML and through the UI. Okay. And the last issue, set a predefined list, CI variable, and surface them in the run pipeline page now. And so I'm actually going to show you how it looks and then how we configure that. So if I go to my pipeline, if I will choose to run a pipeline, and I'll select run a pipeline. Okay. So you can see that by default, I was prompted with the name of the variable, the type, okay, the name of the variable, and the value. Now, up until today, users could only set one value. So like this and this was supported. What we've added the option for user to configure a predefined list, and it will be display as a drop-down box, and users could actually choose which variables they would like to select. Now, this is very handy because normally the person that is running the pipeline is not the same person that is configuring the pipeline. So they don't know what is the value that they need to add to the predefined list, to the predefined variable, in case there are multiple options. If there is like one option, then it's not a problem. But normally, when there are different parameters that you need to configure to the same variable, then it's very hard for them to know, okay, what is the variable? Usually what users have been doing, they manipulate the description, and in the description, they wrote what are the options, or maybe in the comment. But then users would need to go to the pipeline configuration and see and look for the definition of the variable, and then see in the comment what are the available value. So now it's very easy, straight and forward. They can actually see there is a drop down, and they can see what are the options that they have. The way to configure it is also quite easy. To my branch, it was pre-fill variable test. Yeah. Okay. So this is the way to configure it. Nested underneath the variable keyword, find the name, then the default value that will be presented by default when you first click on run pipeline. It is staging, and then you can specify the options, and you can specify more and more options, and obviously also the description, which is similar to the way we've defined a single variable. The way to define a single predefined variable is those 3 lines, which was already available for our users, and we've added this option to allow users to specify multiple options and then select the options that they would like to choose. Yeah, and those are the 3 issues that will be available in 15.7. Thank you, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Bye-bye.